How surprised are you that a team with a former #1 overall pick and a former finals coach and coach of the year is this bad?
Man, I don't know what they're doing because it's not like football where if you lose, you get the #1 spot.
Yeah.
You got to go into the lottery and all. So it's not if that wasn't the case, I'll sit there and be, they just tanking.
Yeah.
But they got Cade. They got Bogdanovich. They got Marvin Bagley. I mean, they got some players. I don't know what's to make of this, especially Monty Williams, big payday, when he got let go in Phoenix, and then all of a sudden he was the hottest thing on the market. Detroit scooped him up quick, fast, in a hurry. And now you're looking at a team that's 2-28. I don't even know what that looks like, though. I mean, it's like, you can't win 5 games right now?
No.
I mean, come on. It's just not going in the right direction because Monty Williams is a really good basketball.
He just is.
Or at least he was a really good basketball coach.
He is.
In his stops in New Orleans as well as Phoenix and now in Detroit. And he, like you mentioned, he led them to the finals. And it's just, I don't know what to make of it, Skip. They're out there playing. They're trying, but they can't win. And it's in basketball. If this was football, there's only 17 games and they've only won 2. And you sit there and you go, they're not good right now.
Yeah.
But they played 30 games and they only got 2. Explain that. Help me.
Help him, Richard.
Yeah. I wish I could help. I don't understand it. I just feel bad for the city of Detroit, for the state of Michigan. Thank goodness for football right now because the Detroit Lions are playing well. The University of Michigan football team is playing well because they have just had some really tough sports stories. I mean, you talk about the Lions team that went 0-16. Now you're talking about a record in basketball for most consecutive losses in a season. I don't understand it because the coach, I really don't think he's the problem. I mean, some of this stuff is just lack of execution, sloppy basketball, lack of effort, the fundamental things that take no talent, effort, and attitude. But I really can't put my finger on what is necessarily the problem there because they're not getting blown out in every game.
No.
But they're not winning either. And so in the history of basketball, I don't think this will be a big deal. I think after this season, they'll draft somebody. We'll move on. Nobody will remember who was on this team or who coached it. But, I mean, it's just I feel bad. I feel bad for the players, the coaches, the organization, and especially the fans.
They started off 2-1, Skip.
So, to that point, I watched their opener at Miami because I couldn't take my eyes off it because they stormed back. They were down 19 with 9 minutes left in that game at Miami. And thanks to Cade and company, they stormed back, and Cade had a 30-footer at the buzzer that could have won it, and it was close. And it kept you on the edge of your seat. And you thought, okay, that looked pretty good to me. They go to Charlotte for their next game, and they win handily. There was LaMelo. They were at full strength at that point. And then they go home, and they beat Chicago handily, 118-102. And I thought, okay, they're 2-1, and they came close to being 3-0. And then this started. And now we're back to Monty Williams. He is a really good basketball coach. And trust me on this, he's an even better human because he's about as good as they get when it comes to hearts, souls, men.
Absolutely.
And trust me, he's been through worse than this because he lost his wife in a car crash in Oklahoma City. And it was just horrible. 25th and Southwestern. And I still bleed for that whole moment that he went through. It was just so rough on him and his family. And the point is, he'll be okay. Will this stain his reputation if they go 6-76? Well, it'll go down on his resume. It won't look great on his resume. But now let's get to Cade Cunningham. Okay, this is what I love and don't love about basketball. It can be a one-man sport because if you do have LeBron James early in Cleveland, you can take a bunch of guys and put around him, and LeBron is just so great. He was such a good young leader, and score that he can transcend. He can lift that team up, and they obviously got all the way to an NBA Finals, ran into my Spurs, who were just too many Hall of Famers, and they got swept. But they got all the way to the Finals. So my point is, I did not love Cade Cunningham coming out of Oklahoma State, and I sat right here in this chair and said I would take Jalen Green over him. Jalen Green's just a better scorer, but Cade's a much better all-around facilitator, passer, rebounder. He's got the whole the whole gamut of capability, but he's not transcendent. Some guys just are. They just have that leadership gene or that takeover gene or whatever that is. Cade, with all those pieces you talked about, is not able to lift them up, even though he gave you 41. He gave you 37 in the second half last night, and yet they got outscored down the stretch 26-15. Some guys have that it factor. I don't think Cade does, and it's not a huge. I'm not condemning him. It's just you're asking him to take.
You're asking him to do too much,
more than he is capable of doing. And so night after night, and they got a tough stretch. They're going to Boston now for their next game. Good luck with that. But they got a rough stretch of games. I don't think he's transcendent enough to lift this team up to break this streak anytime soon. So it comes down to look what Ja's doing right now in Memphis. Memphis got a lot of nice pieces. You can argue they have a much better team than Detroit does. But they were languishing, right? They were, let's see, they
won 4 since
okay, so they're 10-19 now, so they were 6-19 when Ja came back. 6-19, well, that's not a whole lot better than 2-28, right? And what has Ja done since he stepped on the floor? What's happened? They have gone to New Orleans twice now and won games. It took overtime last night.
4-0.
Yeah, 4-0. It's Ja Morant. He's transcendent. There's something about the charisma factor, the impact.
Yeah.
There's something different when we compare Ja Morant to what Cade Cunningham is not able to do.
But that's what a lot of, when we're going to dive into the Lamar Jackson effect. But
that's what it is.
Certain players
that is
have that.
That is correct.
And Ja has it. When he walks into the building stops. When he enters into the restaurant, everybody looks. I mean, certain people, Michael Jordan, there's just certain people that just have that. And when guys go high in drafts, it's not always about just their skill set. It's about the whole package that's being delivered. And I think a lot of people sometimes they forget that. Now, you mentioned Cade Cunningham out of Oklahoma State. You didn't necessarily like some of the things that was missing where Jalen Green had some of that. I mean, that happens all the time in sports. I mean, it just does.
Yeah, it just does. And all this gets magnified by the point Richard made because in Detroit, the Lions are they're back. They just won the division. And listen.
Fighting for home field advantage throughout.
And just up the road in Ann Arbor, Jim Harbaugh's team is the #1 seed in the college football playoffs. I think they're really good. I think they got a great shot of winning it all. A lot of people like Alabama over Michigan, but the point is,
like Alabama.
Do you? Okay, I like Michigan.
St. Nick, man.
But the point is, it's happening in football in the Detroit area right now, and it ain't happening in basketball. And I was there at all those finals with all those bad boy Pistons teams, and you want to talk about a great basketball city? Whew. All the Rodman teams and the Isaiah teams.
Even the team that beat us. I mean, with Ben Wallace and company.
Lord.
They had a nice little run there, ripping them.
And
Rasheed
Chauncey,
Wallace, Rip, Chauncey.
Oh, wow. And now it's come to this?
Long time ago, though.
It was a long time ago, but this is just hard to watch. And to your point, it's just hard to believe. Okay, up next, why the eye test should tell you Lamar Jackson is the NFL's best player, though Richard...
Well, not according to somebody on this show, but I ain't going to, just going to let him keep talking.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.